Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Tuesday, April 13th Committee of the Whole meeting. We're going to begin now at 5:35. Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Councilman Burgess?
Here.
Councilman Lovell? Here. Councilman Maldonado?
Here.
Councilman Shelley?
Here.
Councilman Williams?
Here.
Vice Mayor Waldman? Mayor Bateman?
Here. At this time, any additions, deletions, or deferrals?
Mr. Mayor, I only have a couple of items that I would like to update you on later, towards the end of the meeting.
Okay.
Just a heads up item.
Okay. Yes.
I'd just like to publicly request an executive session in the case of Mike Shahada versus City of Homestead, so we can talk about that. Doesn't need to be done now, I just need to request, and it'll be done by the clerk.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, at this time, I'd like to recognize, before we get involved into our actual meeting, Mr. McCracken from Katie Sorensen's office, and the presentation being done by George Cavos, right? Would you like to come forward now and say whatever? Okay. Before we get into all of our business, I've given you the floor. The podium's right here. Put the mic on and.
Great. Good evening, Mayor. I don't know if the Vice Mayor is here, but council members. Thanks for the opportunity to speak with you tonight. My name is George Cavros. I work with an organization called the Southern Alliance for Clean Energy, which is a regional nonprofit group that advocates for clean energy. And by clean energy, I mean primarily energy efficiency and renewable energy. And I don't have a lot of time tonight, but I just sort of want to lay out a menu of options that the city might want to undertake if it wants to pursue energy efficiency, renewable energy in a way that creates jobs and also lowers customers' bills. And there's a whole host of reasons to pursue energy efficiency and renewable energy. Certainly jobs and economic development are one of them. We've estimated that renewable energy, if we were to attain 20% of our renewable energy by 2020, that would create 50,000 jobs in the state of Florida. Additionally, renewable energy and also energy efficiency lower customer bills and protect customers from bill price spikes, and I'll explain that in a moment. Certainly, energy independence is one of the reasons to pursue it because it keeps energy dollars in the state that would otherwise go out of the state to pay for fuels to generate electricity. And there's a host of other reasons, and I'll just keep moving. One of the reasons for energy efficiency, and I'll stay on efficiency now for a few minutes, is that it's a job creator. The American Council for an Energy Efficiency Economy estimates we could create over 19,000 jobs if we pursue energy efficiency. And those kind of jobs are electricians, air conditioner installers, carpenters, roofers. Those are the types of folks with the skill sets right now that are unemployed in Florida. So they're ready to hit the ground running in a clean energy economy. And you'll hear a lot of times, energy efficiency might be a little costly, renewable energy costs too much. Well, this is business as usual since 2000. We've seen our electricity rates jump by 50% in just the last 10 years. And the reason for that is really, in a sort of succinct way, is an over-reliance on building power plants to meet energy demand. We right now have our fleet right now is about 75% fossil fuel power plants. A lot of that is natural gas. About 50% of that is natural gas. Natural gas is a very volatile fuel that's subject to price spikes and supply disruptions for reasons outside of our control. And also, what we want to do basically is, we need to try to diversify our generation portfolio. Right now, we have less than 4% our renewable energy assets, and we meet less than 1% of our energy demand right now through energy efficiency. So like any good stock portfolio, you want to diversify and go into lower risk resources. And why energy efficiency? Because energy efficiency costs 2 to 4 cents, a well-managed program. Generating electricity from a conventional power plant costs around 12 cents. So it really becomes a question of, do you want to pay 2 to 4 cents or do you want to pay 12 cents to meet electricity demand? And municipal utilities have really been leading the way in this area. You see the city of Tallahassee, Gainesville Regional Utilities, they're getting close to 1% of their energy demand through energy efficiency in any given year. In fact, the city of Tallahassee found out that they didn't need to buy into a power plant that would have provided them 150 megawatts of electricity if they just pursued more meaningful energy efficiency measures. And they were able to forego that and the expense of that by pursuing more meaningful energy efficiency. And I won't go very much into this slide, but what they did is they switched cost effectiveness tests. The state of Florida for many years has been using a test that screens out the more energy efficient measures. And just recently it moved to a test called the total resource cost test, which basically puts energy efficiency measures and power plant options on the same at the same level. And generally what that does is that gets more energy efficiency measures, utility sponsored measures out to your customers. And this is where a lot of your electricity bill goes. You can see you've got HVAC load, you've got lighting, you've got water heating load. If you can get measures out to people that reduce their water heating load, like a water heater blanket, something as basic as that, that pie will shrink and they'll save money. If you can get CFL bulbs out to those people, that pie will shrink, their lighting load will shrink, and they'll save money. What kind of measures are we talking about? You know, again, I mentioned a few of them: CFL bulbs, water heater blankets, low-flow shower heads. It might be something as simple as going in and cleaning people's refrigerator coils. It's sealing AC ducts. If your utility program doesn't concentrate on these particular programs, and these particular programs happen to be the most cost-effective to the customer, then you ought to be doing them. Okay, let me switch over to renewable energy for just a minute. Right now, there are 29 states in the District of Columbia that have what's called the Renewable Portfolio Standard. They've set timelines and targets to meet, to have their investor-owned utilities create, either procure or generate renewable energy. Florida does not have one. In fact, most of the Southeast does not have one. So, what options are available for a municipal utility? Well, there's a few options for promoting solar energy here in Homestead. There's net metering, there's a solar water heater lease program that I'll talk briefly about, there's incentive payments, there's a feed-in tariff that the Gainesville Regional Utilities is advancing, and there's also PACE legislation. And it's important to note that you can leverage all these programs with federal and state incentives. So there's a 30% investment tax credit for renewable energy and some energy efficiency appliances, as well as state rebates available for solar energy at $4 a watt, capping out at $20,000, or a $500 solar water heating rebate. Okay, net metering. The concept of net metering is you have a meter and it measures, for instance, if you have a solar panel on your home, it measures how much energy your solar panel is generating, and it measures how much energy you're using from the transmission grid, and it nets it out at the end of the month. If you're creating more energy than you're using, that generally is credited to your next month's bill, and it's credited at, it can either be at the retail cost that you're paying or the wholesale cost. That's up to every individual municipal utility to decide how you do it. So it's really kind of a very basic way of encouraging homeowners to install solar energy devices on their home because there is at least some economic incentive with net metering to do it. Another program is the solar hot water heating program in Lakeland. What they've done is they've contracted with a third-party provider for customers who want to utilize solar energy, and actually solar water heaters are the most cost-effective way to do that. There's no upfront cost for them. There's no maintenance cost for the homeowner. The hometown utility, in cooperation with a third-party provider, install that on the individual's or the property owner's home for a fee. That fee is about $35 a month, which is what their customers would pay for the water heating portion of their utility bill. And of course, there's a purchase option at the end if they want to purchase it. But what it does, it overcomes that barrier of upfront capital, which a lot of people just simply don't have right now. Another program is conducted by another municipal utility, Orlando Utilities Commission. They're actually offering an incentive for for solar power sold back to the grid. They're not just net metering it anymore like the previous proposal. They're actually offering anywhere from 3 to 5 cents a kilowatt hour. So now they're adding some financial incentive to actually generate your own power and sell it back to the grid. 5 cents a kilowatt hour is not a huge amount, but at least it's a start, and it's encouraging to see municipal utilities going in this direction. The other way you can do it is the way Gainesville Regional Utilities has decided to do it. They've implemented what's called the feed-in tariff, which has been very popular in Germany in rapidly deploying solar energy. They offer 32 cents a kilowatt hour. That's pretty substantial. When you're paid 32 cents a kilowatt hour for the power that you're generating and selling it back to the grid, you can actually go to the bank, get a loan on that, buy the equipment, put it up on your home or property, and the money that you receive for the energy will actually be less than the loan payment that you're making to the bank. And lastly, there's legislation now, which you may be well aware of, that's moving in Tallahassee, most commonly referred to as property assessed clean energy districts. This allows municipalities like yourselves to establish a special financing district. It allows you to do it on your own or in conjunction with contiguous municipalities. You can join other municipalities. It will allow you to float a bond issue to raise money, and it allows homeowners, property owners in your city to come to you, borrow the money, set up the installation, and again, it would be a renewable energy installation. It would be an energy efficiency retrofit, or it could also be storm hardening. And again, that would overcome the barrier of those big upfront costs that folks have when they're trying to save money on their bills, either by installing energy efficiency measures or setting up renewable energy systems on their home. It would also extend to storm hardening as well. And of course, that liability would be attached to the property as a special assessment. That would guarantee the payment and allow you to float the bond. And just in conclusion, there really are a lot of opportunities for municipalities right now to advance energy efficiency in their communities and also renewable energy. Even when you're not getting a lot of leadership at the state level or sometimes at the federal level, there still are opportunities at the local level to advance some of these things. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Covas. Yes, questions, council?
Mayor, can I ask, have you been in contact with our utilities director about what you have just presented?
I've been kind of remiss in not doing that, but I obviously should get together with her and sit down and talk about some of these things.
I think that would be a great idea.
Yeah.
To at least to be able to talk with our utilities director. Well, I appreciate your presentation.
Quick question.
That was very informative.
Yes, please.
Have you joined in you had mentioned that other municipalities would be able to join in conjunction with this. Have any local municipalities, Miami-Dade County or Fort Lauderdale, have joined in this initiative already?
Is this the PACE initiative? I think that Sean can talk to that.
Yeah, I'd be happy to chime in on that. Sean McCracken with Commissioner Katie Sorensen's office. There are a number of cities in South Dade, from South Miami, Pinecrest, Palmetto Bay, and Cutler Bay, that are linking up to try to do something similar to what's called the PACE financing model, where essentially you voluntarily essentially assess your property, a tax for improvements on energy efficiency and renewable energy. And since each one of those municipalities on their own is small in scale, they're looking to essentially stretch their bonding capacity by linking up. I'm sure they'd love to talk to Homestead as well.
Yeah, if you could provide some more information in reference to that, so the PACE finance model.
Sure.
Please. Sorry.
Thank you. Yeah, I noticed that you mentioned the Gainesville Regional Utilities in your presentation. I know they're kind of like the leader. I think they've got the smart meters. They got the whole whistles and bells up there. And I felt remiss that we didn't take a field trip when we were there for our last intergovernmental conference that we had. I understand that they're really top notch.
Well, Mayor, they'd be happy to give you a visit, I'm sure.
I'd say, because when we crank up our power source across the street, the sky gets black. So we could use some assistance. Any further questions for George? Thank you both very much for coming.
Thank you.
Any questions from the audience of the presentation? Hearing none, let's move on to motion for approval of March 9th, 2010 minutes.
I move that we approve the minutes.
I'll second them. Moved by Mr. Williams, second by Mr. Burgess. Staff report, any questions or comments? Any comments from staff? Manager? Okay. Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Any nays? Motion carries. Item C, Department of Air Force jet loan agreement. Entertain a motion for approval.
I'll move the loan agreement on the Air Force jet.
I'll second it.
Okay. You want to update us, Mr. Manager, anything?
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, this is the yearly agreement that we signed with the Air Force for the maintenance of, the electric components, the lighting of the jet at the entrance of the city. And it's a yearly thing that we enter into, typical. Nothing has changed.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Motion carries. Okay, public safety, the mutual aid agreement between the city and Miami Shores and the city of Homestead. Motion to move.
I move it forward.
Second?
I'll second.
Okay, manager?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, this agreement with the Miami Shores and the subsequent one with Florida City are both similar in nature.
We're going to go individually.
For the first one, the one at hand, it's just a mutual aid service agreement that we have between both cities to perform a number of functions, and these functions are outlined in the actual agreement attached to documentation. Voluntary is a voluntary cooperation agreement for operational assistance, and it covers a number of things. Multi-jurisdictional criminal investigations, incidents between municipalities, terrorist activities, escapes from or disturbances within detention facilities, enemy attacks, emergency situations, joint training, in mutual, in areas of mutual need, and et cetera. It covers a number of things
Questions or
that we
comments?
both participate on. So.
Questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Motion carries. Same thing for B, item B, mutual agreement, City of
I'm-
Florida City.
I move to approve the mutual aid with City of Florida City.
Second.
Thank you. Staff, the same thing.
And
Questions
again,
or comments?
No impact on the
Yeah,
budget.
right. No, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Motion carries. Item C, Children's Trust. Motion for, let's get a motion for.
I'll
move it.
Second?
Second it.
Okay. Mr. Manager?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, this is a grant that we are to receive grant funds in the sum of $209,335. And essentially, it's going to pay for the overtime for community police officers who will conduct a number of community educational training services. That's basically, in essence, what it is.
Okay. Any questions from council?
Yes, Mayor.
Yes.
Quite a few
Williams, go ahead.
questions. With this grant, I know it says, some say for community policing, and then some talks about the Peace Task Force that will be assembled. If the person who's over the grant, there are many different aspects of this grant. So you're saying that the $209,000 will just go towards the overtime, or a portion of that will go for overtime? Because in the meat of the resolution and of the grant, it specifies different things. So could you clarify that?
It is to cover the overtime spent for officers, providing this type of training.
Okay. So how much overtime have we already gone through? Because, well, here's my concern. And it's one of concern that I bring to light always. With this amount of money going to pay for overtime for community policing, what does that look like? I mean, is that the whole segment of the city? Is it certain segments of the city? What is the detail of and then why are we using, for overtime? Is this just a grant for overtime or for more program expenses?
My understanding, Councilman, is that it is to pay for overtime, time spent providing this type of training services. And they're listed there, the South Day Weed and Seed, the Haitian Organization of Women, and a number of others, and then including the one that you mentioned. The concern is why for overtime and not, I don't want you to, this doesn't mean that you're signing off on overtime in addition, or it can be used for any other type of overtime that we have to incur. That this will be specifically overtime towards this type of services, and no other city-related
To me,
overtime.
excuse me, I'm sorry, Mr. Manager, to interrupt you, but to me, from me looking at it, it's conflicting. You said it's for overtime, and then you said that it's for forms relating for youth violence and funds for the local community agency at risk youth. South, you name a lot of organizations. How can that be for overtime if it's going to those organizations? That is not making sense to me on the way it's laid out.
Maybe you want to get some idea, right?
Sorry, Mayor and Council, the 209,000 covers the task force. It's a complete task force. Almost 14,000 of that is for overtime for the community policing. The other activities that the task force conducts are after-school activities that for high-risk children to keep them off the streets. They also do gang sweeps. They do home visits. They do therapeutic services to families that have been impacted by either as victims of gang violence or they have a family that is active in a gang, a family member.
Okay. Mayor, through you.
Yes, please.
In that case, what I'd like to have then is a report, because it's just something new that we're forming.
No, this is in its second year.
No, second year.
Yes.
Okay, what I'd like to have is a report of what has been happening the first year. And then that way we're all caught up to speed, because there are certain circumstances that arise that I'm just not privy to because of lack of knowledge. So what I'd like to have done is, at some point in time, through you, Mayor, to the city manager, is to bring back a report of the statistics of what has been accomplished thus far with this.
Yes, sir. And my understanding is that there should be a reporting mechanism already in place, because this is a grant and there is some, we have to advise the funding agency as to how we're doing, so we'll be bringing that to you.
Right, but as a receiving agency, I think the council needs to know at some point the status of that as well, because I don't know if most of us up here would know exactly where we are with that. I mean, I could be wrong, but I stand corrected. But
we'll provide you that information.
Thank you. That'd be great. For grants that we get through
the police department.
That's right. Yes.
Okay.
Okay, with that caveat, all in favor? Nays? Okay, motion carries. And item D, that is pretty much the same grant, Children's Trust Family Violence Service Partnership Network, another grant. I know you want to give a little
just a little higher number, $590,000.
Okay.
It's an extension of an award. So.
I move it, Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Williams.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carries. Okay, just, going to move into item E, maintenance agreement, Cisco SmartNet, motion,
I move it.
second. Discussion, staff,
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council,
The
this
public.
is an agreement with AT&T for our telephone and communication systems within our police department. It's a vital function of the department. And they are already a provider with, I believe it's the county, so we are requesting that you waive the bidding process. So,
okay, questions and comments, council?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, go ahead.
can you shed a little bit of light, Julio?
it's actually,
No, sorry, Jerry,
Yeah.
sorry.
Mayor and council, this really pertains to the police department, but I'll be more than happy to elaborate. The police department's phone system is based over voice over IP, which is using Cisco switches and routers. The same thing for the radio system. Basically, what the SmartNet does is a maintenance agreement. Anything happens to that equipment, AT&T or Cisco will actually come out within 24 hours and replace the equipment. Depending at what level they got it at, they could actually be out in about 4 hours and replace the equipment if they have a serious failure.
Okay, any additional questions? Having a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carries. Item 5, Park and Recreation Committee, Vice Mayor Waldman, the installation of prefabricated restrooms at Harris Field. Motion?
I move it.
Second.
Thank you. Mr. Manager?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, this is a facility that's needed, very much so, at this location. Currently, they have to walk a long distance to go, you know, for the kids to go that are playing baseball to go to the restroom. This will be, this portable facility, these facilities, restroom facilities will eliminate that issue and make it a lot easier for the teams to have a bathroom right there.
Question, staff probably can answer. Where is this located roughly? You know, where at Harris Field is a big place. I mean, is it over with Conley Football?
By the baseball diamond in between.
Mayor, Council. It's going to be located between the skate park and the Dick Conley Field. And what we're going to do, it's well needed because we've been using porta potties. So we thought it would be a good idea to have it between them two, so we you know, save the safety of the kids walking across the street to the baseball fields to use it.
You're right, it's
The
definitely.
league too, we're very happy to have that.
Sure. Yes, Mr. Williams.
Just, is this a budgeted item and part of our?
Yes, it was. It was a 50-50 grant. We have 100,000 allocated for this
So,
through the budget process.
so it was 50,000 and we matched it with another 50, or is it 100?
It's 100. It's 200,000 total.
So, then the price of it will be what?
200,000. The total.
Okay. In my questioning is that we anticipated this to the budget year. So has it already gone out for bid, or is it in the process?
I believe we went out, Dennis, we brought this before.
This is a grant that was for $100,000 through the Safe Neighborhood, and what we did was we budgeted for another 100. And what it was is that we have the money, we already budgeted. But what was the question? I'm sorry.
The question was concerning the actual design and when did we scope it out and brought it out for bid?
We piggybacked it from Dade County, so we didn't have to bring it out for bid. So it's piggybacked from the grant.
How far back? This happened before December? This happened last, when did it happen?
I think it happened recently.
It was probably like last year, 2009.
that what you were asking, Jimmy?
Oh, yeah, I was wanting to know, has it gone out for bid? And then who are the prospectors? Because I don't, you know,
Can I jump in just to and add something to it?
add as much as you want.
So we, basically, the former council initiated this, and you went out under the former council, correct?
Correct. And the bid, Superior Park Systems will actually do it for $161,857 with 25 cents. We have $100,000 that we got from the grant. The balance we will pay out of what we budgeted, which is the matching portion of it.
Okay, thank you.
And I guess since we've opened it up for discussion, did you research permanent bathrooms? Because, you know, I mean, you work on a septic tank system over there. Is there sewer line close to there?
We have city utilities there, so we have city sewer and water there. So they'll be tying on to that.
I'm just curious why we didn't do, you know, CBS bricks and mortar, you know, because I can tell you, you can do it for that number.
Mayor, it's a very nice fabricated bathroom. I mean, it looks like a regular building. I mean, it has brick in it and wood. It's a very nice fabricated building. It's very nice. A lot of other cities have used them, and it's very nice.
Hurricane, category 1, 2, 3, what?
That was gonna be my question.
He opened it up, he opened Pandora's box.
Three,
That's
for
all I'm
sure.
gonna ask.
I have a question, just as...
Yes, Mr. Maldonado. Go ahead, we were gonna get here quick.
I just thought about the security and I mean, and this is a park at night, or is it open, is it closed? Well, not for anyone gonna walk away with it, but in the sense of, is anyone just gonna be able to come in throughout the night and use it? You know, I'm thinking, not for the homeless, but anyone going in there taking a shower. Is it secure? Bottom line. How's secure? You guys lock it up at night? I'm almost thinking porta potty here since I don't have a picture in front of me. And you know, so maybe that would have been kind of nice to see as well, so I could get an idea and not have these questions. Does it lock? Does it have doors? Can they walk up and take it?
Mayor, council, it's on a concrete slab, so it won't move or nothing like that, but it will be locked up just like our other facilities at night, so we shouldn't worry about no vandalism, which we'll have it, you know, secured and everything be fine.
It's a modular component.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Right? Bring it on wheels, take the wheels away, and
Yes, Mayor.
Mayor, one last question, please, to beat the horse. Since we bring up that, then, have we did a cost analysis of putting as the mayor said, brick and mortar building there with the money that we're spending? You open it up.
I hear you.
So, I mean, if we have $200,000 and you're saying it's going to cost $162 or something, have we looked at it to put a permanent structure for that amount of money for bathroom?
Mayor, council, it was in past administrations that was looked at. I know they were looking at that. This would be better for us, cheaper-wise, and you know, it was better that way for us to go with this.
If you like, if it's a consensus of this council that we go back and re-examine that possibility, is something that we can certainly do.
I think that, if you don't mind, Mr. Williams, I think that we ought to at least have a look-see at it. You know, if you'll get us the information on it, the schematics on it, you know, and you don't have to get a set of plans, the whole deal. But I can tell you, the golf course at Miccosukee Golf Course in Kendall built 2 men's and women's, 4 bathrooms for $135,000. CBS bricks and mortar strong.
Good point.
County approved. I know. I built them.
Yeah.
Come back.
So Mayor, then will we have to? Then maybe this is a question for the attorney, since we've already moved on it. Do we have to rescind what we just did? Because we've not voted on it yet. But in order to amend it, what will we need to do, Mr. Attorney?
Okay, we have not voted. So what you would need to do is just have a consensus to direct the manager to go back and look at a bricks and mortar application for this as opposed to what's on the agenda. That would be enough.
We just table it for a workshop and look at it ourselves and take a look at maybe what they have is what we
So
want.
direct the manager to do an analysis of it, bring it back to you at a workshop and with some different options.
Mr. Mayor?
Just time sensitive and all?
Yeah, that's what I was asking. What's the time limit on the grant?
Dick County League football, that's when it's time sensitive.
Nothing in the grant?
That is the...
It's Dick County League, I know what it is, it's Dick County League football, I mean, they suffer over there.
We'll bring it,
Question.
we can probably put something together and bring it back before the council meeting.
No, that was my question, though, is making sure the grant doesn't have a requirement that we have to spend the monies within a certain period of time. I want to make sure we don't miss out on that. But other than that, I'm interested in seeing what we can do.
The grant, Mayor, Council, the grant, I think expires December 31st, so it is kind of like a time issue.
You can build them in about 3 months.
Well,
I'll bring something before the next council meeting.
It's all right, I'm just telling you.
The only thing is that I would ask you not to eliminate the option of the workshop and just bring you, what the comparison is if we were to do it by other means.
Okay. Sounds good.
I'm fine with that.
Okay, any further discussion? So what we're going to do is move forward to further...
With the direction, to come back at the next council meeting and show you what other alternatives are there that may be more cost effective.
Okay, so does that require our final vote here, yea, nay? Yeah.
I think just the direction to the manager is fine.
Fine, thank you. All right, that concluding everything we have on the committee of the whole agenda tonight. I know that we don't normally ask for public comment, but yes, please, I would like to have some public comment. Mr. Trantham, that was a very, very sharp piece that you had in the newsletter on behalf of our Dade County School Board, our school teachers.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I'm Jim Trantham, 2375 Southeast 7th Place. I bring this to your attention. I had it put in your mailboxes. Each of you should have received a copy. There are more in the back if the people would like to see it. This is just one of the letters to the editor that are in 4 newspapers this weekend that I wrote. It's extremely important. This has to do with the Senate Bill 6. And some cities need to get involved in this, and I think we do. It wouldn't take anything to put a resolution together in a hurry to make at least an attempt to ask Governor Chris to please veto this bill. And the reason I say some cities is because a city like Homestead, for example, if this bill is passed, will lose teachers that you won't even believe, because they will not come to the city and work in a school which is doesn't have a chance to have a positive result for a student if the teacher's salary, half the teacher's salary is being paid by a student passing a test. We deal with students that are migrant students. We deal with students that are speakers of other languages. We are in a very unique situation here, and we need the very best and brightest teachers to work with these students. However, if you tell a teacher you're only going to get half your pay based on a test, and you can't get these kids to make a grade on a test this year, for example, if I were a teacher, I wouldn't teach here. I'd say, no, you're not going to not pay me for my master's degree, not pay me for my doctor's degree, and then tell me you're going to pay half of my salary based on a kid passing a test. It's extremely important that we let Governor Chris know that this is just a bad bill and needs to be vetoed. But it needs to be vetoed with such resound that the Senate and the legislature doesn't bring it back again and say, okay, we're going to override his veto. Or we'll take it and we'll tweak it and bring it back as another bill. It needs to be very clear that this is bad, this is really, really bad legislation. And it needs to be stopped, especially in a city like Homestead, where we're making every effort to raise the kids and not to hold them back because of the fact that maybe some of these kids are ESE kids, some of these kids are, as I said, speakers of other language, and you cannot expect the teachers to work under those circumstances. They won't do it. I wouldn't do it. I'd say, oh, I'll go to the safe school up in Pinecrest, and I'll teach there, and I'll stay there. I won't come to Homestead and teach. So if you can do something tonight, if you can't, you can refer that to the next meeting. It could even be stuck on the special call tomorrow night to make the resolution if you need a day. But it needs to be done because Governor Christ has to make this decision by Friday. And I think that we need to make a contact with him and say, look, we're against this bill. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Trentham. How does council feel about the resolution? Something we want to move forward on?
I'm all in favor of it. I believe that Senate Bill 6 is going to harm us in a tremendous way, especially in our local schools being Homestead, and probably Miami-Dade especially. So I'd fully support a resolution of that nature.
Yeah, Mayor, I fully would support it. But the sense of urgency is like yesterday, because he has to sign it by Friday, I guess the bill by Friday for veto. So I don't know, it would be the logistics of getting it together and having it passed. So Richard, how would that be? How will we be able to expedite this?
Well, resolutions need to be in writing, but we can do them. If you make a motion now, I can write it up afterwards and get appropriate language, and we can get it up there. It'll just be a motion as opposed to a resolution, but it'll look just like a resolution.
Okay. Well, I would allow.
I would move to do that.
Well, I would allow our educational chair, if you don't mind, Mayor, to.
Just want to make sure before I comment, I see Andy. Just want to make sure she didn't have anything to say.
No, I'm actually for it. I know that as Dr. Trantham spoke, it's a Friday decision. And I'm sure there's other resolutions, other cities that have already moved in this direction. So it's just a matter of getting that language down here. But I fully support it. I'm speaking to Mrs. Faircloth McCormick.
Yes.
And thank you. And I would echo what was mentioned up here, because right now, this is, for me, I've been saying as the chair of the education that the key to growing the city is going to be education is the foundation. We're not going to have the companies who want to come down here, the quality citizens that want to move down here, until we start fixing our education system. For too long, we've been ignored, and whatever we have to do to continue to support our teachers here in this education system.
Thank you, Mr. Maldonado. So with that motion, we have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Motion carries. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Well, the nature of my standing here has changed to say thank you, because that's what I was coming up here for, to ask you to offer a resolution in opposition of Senate Bill 6. I must honestly say that this has been the toughest time in my professional career. I've been traveling the state. I've been on 10, 7, 4 in every newspaper speaking out against this bill because it was arbitrarily designed. It destabilizes our salary structure. It does not have anything in this bill that will recruit and retain high quality and effective teachers to teach within our municipality. I personally spoke to the governor. I personally spoke to the commissioner of education. I testified in front of the Pre-K-12 Policy Council in opposition of this bill, and was able to get some of our Republican elected officials who were proponents of this bill to become opponents of this bill. So I thank Dr. Trantham for taking the lead on this and asking for a resolution, and I thank you for supporting this initiative, because this will be moving in the right direction and doing what's in the best interest of the city of Homestead. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, I just got a little bit of information. Anybody else got anything else before?
Mayor, I just want to remind everybody about the census. Florida's deadlines in submitting our census in, and we don't rally together to make sure that everybody sends in their census. Of course, they're going to be knocking at your door. But we need to make sure that our family members, our friends, are sending back the census forms. so that we can be counted. I think only 30% of Homestead, if I'm not mistaken, has sent it back their census. So we're not even where we were 10 years ago, where we had at least half. So we need to really, I don't know if we can do something online, on our television station, something in this last-ditch effort to push the census so that we can make sure that we are really get those forms back to the.
I think we can do it. Mr. Manager?
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, Councilman Williams, first thing we're going to do is place this meeting on tomorrow's loop, so that they can start hearing about it, and we'll make every effort to advertise through the different medias, newspapers and such, right away. A message from the city.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mayor.
Ms. Lobo?
Yes, Mayor. Thank you. I just want to let you know and the council that parental duties called tomorrow. I have to drop off my son, and I will not be attending any of the interviews for the city clerk, but I have the applications. I've reviewed them, and we'll be ready to vote on Thursday. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any further?
Mayor?
Yes.
Just want to remind everyone and the public that this Saturday, we're going to have a bike ride event headed off by Dr. Larry Feldman. And information will be on our website, and it'll also be on the channel, on the location. And I do want to make a point that they are going to be giving away free helmets for the kids that attend for this bike ride, and they will be fitted, and there will be vendors from our community, and we'll be there as well representing. And this is for in reference to our education again.
And what's the time? To stay the time?
9 o'clock.
It's 9 o'clock in the morning.
9 o'clock, Homestead High School, right?
Homestead Senior High. The information's going to be on the website, but thank you. Homestead Senior High, 9 o'clock in the morning. And if any other council would please join us on the bike ride, and anyone else that you know, just let them know. Let's get out there. Let's support this. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
Mayor, yes, thank you. Mr. Manager, Public Works, and Jerry, I guess we all need to sit down. Unfortunately, I received a phone call from one of our businesses here in town who had been given a bill of $22,000 on top of his normal bill for back solid waste pickup. So evidently, we have a gap of billing somewhere that maybe we need to go back and look at how we're doing it, do some sort of audit system or something. But we also need to sit down and make sure other people don't get this shock in the mail. So maybe through the manager and that we can all sit down and have a meeting and go back and discuss a better way to make sure that the audits are being done or that the routes are being done. If it's we give a route guy a sheet and he goes through and clicks them off so that we know that everybody's being billed, and if there's an extra container, he writes down who it is, or if there's not a container there. But evidently we have a lapse somewhere along the line for a man to get 3 years worth of billing on one bill. So if the manager could arrange that for me, and then we can maybe come back with more details for the rest of council or whatever. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anything further? Just quickly, Biking for Autism. This gentleman, Adam Beal, started in Anchorage, Alaska. He has now made his way to Key West. He's on his way back up, and he is going to come off of US 1 tomorrow, and we're going to have a little sodas and waters for him at 2 o'clock tomorrow here. 2 o'clock, City Hall. He is going to make a brief stop in his ride across America for autism.
There'll be some refreshments and a tent on the parking lot.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, just
Yes.
wanted to, some of you already signed up our firm's annual seminars on Friday. We serve lunch and breakfast and lunch. It's at the Sheridan Design Center. And we do have a couple of openings. I know some of you already signed up to come. Steve, there are CLA credits if you're interested, but it's from,
You're not going to say no.
I think it's from 9 to 3. And we go through all areas of local government for our clients. So I just wanted to make sure that you got notice of it.
Thank you. Anything further?
I only have a couple of items,
Please.
If I may, sir. There was, and this will be an item that if you allow me, I'll come back with a potential amendment. There was a resolution that dates back to, I think it's 1994. But sometime in 2007, the prior manager sent a direction not to charge, and it pertains to a 10%. When you are a business in the community and you have to either open up, pay for the first time your business license fee, or do your subsequent yearly renewal, there is, per code, there is a charge, 10% of that fee that you pay, additional, pay for what it was called economic development fee, impact fee. It's sort of like an impact fee. Again, back in '07, the manager decided that because of the state of the economy and in order to help the local business, they suspended the charging that fee. And so, because it is a code requirement, I'm here before you asking whether should we continue the suspension. And my recommendation in it is, if we decide to do so, then amend the code, accordingly, or if you like to reinstate that 10%, it's your decision. My recommendation is that I agree with the previous decision. I think economic development is everything that we need, but in this case, it translates to actually giving the 10% break, and that's what economic development means, because it will be a help that we extend to the business community. But that would be my recommendation, and come back to you, of course, with the appropriate change in the code, at least on a temporary basis.
Require a motion, right, to move that forward? Just direction? Direction. Discussion?
I like that. I think anything we can do to help our businesses out here is fine, so I say let's leave it as is and bring forth the change.
Only question I have, Mayor, is how long has this been imposed? I mean, was there a specific date that it was to expire, or was it open-ended? Was it a specific date that it expires, or what? Or was it just until you come back that you feel that?
My proposal is to do this for, I guess, let's call it 2 years, for a 2-year period. At the end of the 2 years, we'll come back and revisit the issue. The economy may be better at the time, 2 years from now, and at which time you can reinstate the economic development fee. I think it's something that you would like to institute at one point. I agree with the prior decision. It is just not the right time. But I also want you to give me direction as to whether or not, and probably need the attorney's advice here, as to whether or not I could, proceed with the way we have been, not charging. I guess that if I get the...
I'd have to see what he did, but I was just trying to look at the code while you were talking, but...
this is all I had.
Okay, so I would have to look at the code to see whether we need to...
Let's clean it up so it's done properly,
Right.
and maybe year to year. I mean, 2 years, I don't know. I mean...
On a yearly basis?
Oh, well, you bring it back to us and tell us the same thing again next year.
Okay.
Yes, Mr. Mullen.
Yeah, I just want to, again, as a business owner in the community and speaking to many other business owners, I know that anything that we could do to help them out at this point to keep these businesses up and running, we should do. At the same time, I would like to find out what were the impact fees, how are they being implemented, and how are they helping out within the city? I mean, what are we doing with the money with the impact fee? How is it turning over and helping our businesses? What was it doing? What was the mechanism behind it? So if you could come back to me to the council and let us know, so that we know that the importance of that when we're going to reinstitute and re-implement it, the reason why we're going to do that, how is it going to benefit our community?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Mr. Manager, you through?
Yes, sir. I have one more item, but I'm done with this one.
Okay. Go ahead.
The other item pertains to, the bulk of it pertains to the CRA properties that we own. And in some smaller fashion, also city or homestead properties that we have acquired over time, in similar fashion in both cases, through foreclosure procedures and or conveyances, et cetera. We have 84 CRA properties. I don't know exactly the number that we have. It's not as many on the city or homestead side. In other words, outside the HERO area, the CRA area. But there is, you know, I've been approached a number of times by people that are interested in developing those properties, and we do have a protocol established to dispose of them, sell them. I must say that there are in some cases, we're dealing with a sliver behind a property that is on an alley or adjacent to an alley, in which case I will be coming to you with a recommendation to convey that sliver, that piece of section of land to that property that's abutting, because at least it's an unbuildable situation, and it's a liability for the city more than anything, and a maintenance nightmare. And if we convey it, or quick claim deed it to the property owner, should the property owner accept it, at least we have it on the tax roll. And that's one example. We have other situations that are awkward, and I'll be describing to you as we go. But there are also properties that are very much buildable, and I must say there's, recognizing there are 84 properties, I took it upon myself to look into the possibility of the city using, knowing that they were in this CRA area. I had the planning department look at how strategically and logistically how some of these properties were closer to Chrome or Maui to hopefully to use them as a parking facility. And we identified a couple of them that were, logistically in the right spot. So I'll be talking to you about that possibility as well. As you know, parking in downtown is a nightmare. So
what do you need from us?
I need direction from you to move forward with this. I intend to. This is more heads up right now because I need to bring it on a different forum with you wearing the CRA board hat.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say, Mayor.
So this is just for you to heads up. That's my intention is to bring it to the CRA board. But the portion that pertains to the city homestead properties, I need direction to move on.
I think we need a workshop on that because, in my opinion, I know we're trying to get through this audit and we're trying to come out on the other side, but 80% of those properties could be sold tomorrow and put them back on the tax roll. They're doing absolutely nothing to benefit us right now. Nothing. We are way more land rich than we need to be. So, let's look at that. Let's put together a workshop, please, and bring all the properties there. Lay them on the table. Maybe we need a big auction. Go out there and get rid of them, get them back on the tax rolls, and get somebody paying property tax on them, at least, if not building something on them. So could you just put that together after when we get back from our
yes, sir.
Day's trip and see what happens, all right? We need to be
Mr. Mayor.
proactive. Yes.
I was going to say, as part of that workshop, make sure you put together some sort of written report that we can look at that identifies the properties and that I can look at as part of the workshop to prepare for it.
Yes, sir.
Location, lot, block, address.
An inventory of everything and with pictures and.
We'll be proactive.
Yeah. And whatever you're recommending as a plan, just put it all in a concise presentation.
Yes, sir.
Mayor, last question or statement. Mr. Manager, when you bring those before us, I know you're going to have to specify what is Homestead and what is CRA, because I'm pretty sure CRA can't vote on Homestead property, so we will have to distinguish or differentiate between what you bring to us as a city-owned property. So I want to make that clear that you don't bring a city of Homestead property to us with the CRA property.
Bring two separate documents.
Yes, of course.
Okay, all right, just want to make sure that...
I'll make that distinction.
Okay.
I know you made a distinction, but I'm saying,
I will-
because right now, we're talking about CRA stuff, and we're not CRA board right now. So I know
Correct.
you're making the distinction, but when you come back the next time that you know, talk to us about what we're here for.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you. Hearing no further discussion, motion to adjourn.
Motion made.
Thank you.
All right, second. Thank you very much. Thank you all for coming.